Okay, Mr. Chuck, I believe
Hi.
we are live and yes, we are. Uh,
Yay.
Good
Hi,
to
everybody.
see you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for giving me time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got to do this. Um, First of all, I wanted to start out by congratulating you. Congratulations on being the new executive director for the United Way of Davie County. So
Yes.
I know there was a little interim period, but now that's over and it's official. It's official,
It,
official.
it's permanent. I'm in there.
Yeah.
I'm the guy.
Well, I think it's a great fit, and I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for the organization. So, um, why did you do it?
Want to take on this opportunity?
Right.
Uh, well, so some people may know I'm the chair of the Chamber of Commerce here in town. And, we had our first meeting in January. I had all these big ideas and plans. I've been growing Sage Garden Care Center for a long time. And then in March, we had our first COVID board of directors meeting, and we're sitting around on a Zoom call, as everybody, has become familiar with. And I'm sitting at the table with insurance folks, bankers, construction people, and at this table of integral people in our community, I am the only person at the table that is not an essential employee. And it just kind of hit me, wow, what am I like? How am I going to contribute to help us get through this phase here in Davie County? And I had little opportunities here and there, and Leanne and I spent some time talking.
Mm-hmm.
But she works for Cancer Services, which is one of the partner agencies of United Way. And I knew that these agencies were struggling. These fundraisers had been canceled. And we're talking about, for some of these places, 50, 60, $100,000 a year fundraisers
Yeah.
that were just canceled. That's money wiped off the books. And I knew their phone calls were going up. I knew people were panicking. So I got the phone call in June, and it just felt like one of those God moments. For such a time as this, I had been set up in this position to be able to step in, to use my networks, to use my connections, to talk with people about the good that was going on, my understanding of nonprofits. And I was like, how can I turn down this opportunity? But I didn't know what it was going to mean for our family and for Sage Garden. So I did an interim period. My board has been nothing but supportive. The community has been supportive. And so we're trying to move forward with a campaign to make it work. And I just can't think of a better fit to be able to still keep the businesses that we're working with in the community and help out in the community, but yet have such an integral role to help our agencies that do so much for the county. So I'm blessed, and it's one of those things that if God says here, I'm not going to go, nah,
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
do it.
and it's not like you're a stranger to United Way. You've kind of had your hand in it from I guess more of a volunteer side of it for several years, because I know you and I both have been involved on the the campaign side
Yep.
of it, being able to the allocations committee. So I think it's good to know that there's somebody in here in that position too who has seen behind the curtain and kind of knows.
It's been kind of cool to go back. I've seen some videos that we've made over the last several years that go back 6, 7 years. And then this past weekend, when we were setting up for Halloween on
Mhm.
Main Street, I went out into the shed to grab one of my hammers, and there on the side of it says United Way, some kind of helper volunteer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck Taylor, 2011. So yeah, so we've been doing it for a little while.
Well, I think it's a good fit, and I think the community's lucky to lucky to have you leading the charge. So,
Thank you.
wanted to just give you a few minutes too, because obviously United Way has been involved with DavieLiFE for years. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of share a little bit about the organization from your perspective, since you're new coming into to the role, and just hopefully let our listeners learn a little bit more about you, what your vision is, and just the organization in general. Because I think there are a lot of myths that sort of
Yeah,
are out there. So,
sure.
so let's go ahead. I know we are somewhat limited on time, so just I'm going to be going back and forth because I've got my notes to the left hand side. But
Okay.
let's go ahead and start first of all. Just give us sort of the elevator speech of what is the United Way, what's unique about it.
So United Way is a fundraising agency. We collect funds throughout the community, pull those resources together and go back to the agencies that are making a strong impact in our community and say, how can we help you elevate the services you're providing in the community, fill in the gaps, and make sure that we're taking care of the folks who can't fully take care of themselves.
Right.
And so that's what we do. We take money, provide it to the agencies, and make sure there's accountability for those funds so our donors know that they're giving to a good cause.
Okay.
Primary focus.
And I think too, that's probably even more important now, especially coming off, like you mentioned earlier, about, so many of these agencies, they do rely on these event fundraisers. And since all of that got canceled, so the fact that you all have been working raising funds throughout, you didn't really rely on a big event. So I think that kind of shows the importance of United Way and how you all can sort of step in and fill in the gaps.
Absolutely. There's never been a better time, I think, for United Way to step in than some event like this, to be able to just say, no, we're here for you. 2021, we have no idea what's going to happen, but we're getting funds together. You can count on us. We're here. Our community's here. We want to support you. We know you have a need. We want to step in and help fill in that gap.
Okay.
It's huge.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you feel like makes the United Way unique in terms of, I think, especially the way that, and I know we don't want to talk just strictly about money, but you are a fundraising organization. So what is unique about United Way in terms of how people can support United Way financially?
Great. Thank you. That's a great question. So one of the primary things is education in the community, is making sure that we're letting the people in the community know that there are agencies that are out there that are taking care of folks. Mm-hmm. So people can call into our office and we can talk about our agencies and the services they provide. We financially fund a program called 211. So from any phone, you can just call 211 and you can tell them what your circumstances are, and the people on the other end will help you find the solutions going to fit you. And that's not just Davie County specific, right? That reaches out into surrounding counties, because Forsyth may have resources that Davie doesn't have, mm-hmm. but as a citizen of Davie County, you still have access to those. So it's a great program to help out with.
And I think during COVID, I mean, they had like their largest numbers of participation or need for that they'd ever recorded.
Right. Yes. So, I mean, we were hitting numbers that we had never seen before of people calling in. And a lot of people was just scared and didn't know what to do, mm-hmm. and didn't know who to call. And so 211 was a huge help, because it kind of brought down some fears people had and made sure that they knew, okay, there are places that are actively trying to serve and to help.
Right.
So it's a great resource.
Okay.
The other part of the education component is just allowing people who know that there are agencies out there but don't know what they do, don't know how they're involved, don't know how they're going to be able to serve in their community, and making sure that those folks know there's a place for them to give. So we do things called workplace campaigns. So instead of going out there and trying to target individual donors, which we do have a strong list of, and we're grateful for our individual donors, we also go into workplaces like Ingersoll Rand, and Larson and Comfort Built and other businesses, and we say, hey, would all you guys just give a little bit of money? We look for $52 a year, which is mm-hmm. fine. That's $1 a week. It's not much.
Right.
And then we pull all of that money together, and then we give that back out to agencies in a way that's really helpful, because you got a lot of people that don't know where they want their money to go, but you can trust United Way is going to make sure that money goes to the right people, to the right services that's going to help. And I think that's the one thing that we can leverage that makes us uniquely different. People will ask, why should I give to the United Way when I could just give directly to an agency? And what I tell them is, don't. If you have an agency that you love and support, they need your support, especially now more than ever. Mm-hmm. Volunteer, commit to them, give to them, help them out. But if you don't know where you want that money to go, or if you got somebody else that's got some money and they want to give, even just a little bit, please give us a call, because its agencies still need that resource. And that's where we come in and help.
Right. And I think that is, I always think about, there are people who can give lump sums of money and sometimes large sums of money. And I think any agency is grateful for that. But the fact that just because somebody may not be in that position, it's nice to know that they can have $1 a week deducted out of their paycheck, and everybody likes to feel like they're helping somebody, and I think that's just an affordable way for people to know they've got they're helping the community.
And I want to dispel that myth right off the bat. There are a lot of people that think, well, I don't have much money to give, so I can't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we just really try to offset that. Your dollar a week, right? What you would spend on a pack of crackers, when I pull that together with 500 other people that you don't know, that you haven't met, that you haven't seen, and I take those and I hand it to the Dragonfly House and make sure that they've got resources to connect children who are being abused, or domestic violence, or cancer services, making sure that supplies are getting to cancer patients. They're exceedingly grateful.
Right.
That money is valuable. Don't underestimate the value of $1 a week. It's huge.
Yeah, and I think too, I'm sure when you go in and you can sit there and say, Davie County Schools, they were part of this.
Yeah.
That is, people remember that. They know what business is. So, um, I wish you all luck in terms of being able to get into businesses who can provide that option to their employees, because I think sometimes people say, oh, they just want to get in here and talk to us, but it really is. I think it's a win-win for the agencies and the business and the employees that can step up and be part of that. So
Yeah, in the community, here's one of the things that I've learned is true, and I say is the people who make less money tend to be able to understand the impact that much greater, because it tends to be their friends, it tends to be their family, their neighbors that have the needs. And our hands are touching so many different people in the community. A
mm-hmm.
lot of folks that you may not know because they're going to talk about it, but people that you know personally
Right.
have been impacted in one way or another by the United Way. So you get that story, you understand that story, join us.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. So you mentioned just real quickly about people may ask, well, why would I not just give to the agency that I'm the biggest fan of? And you said if you have somebody that's your cup of tea, then stick with it. But for those who may be considering United Way, tell us a little bit about how is that money dispersed? Is it going to be going where it's supposed to go? Sort of talk to us about that elephant in the room.
Yeah, sure. So this is a really important question because people get really worried about where does money go, and there's a lot of myths out there about what happens to the money that people are given. One of the big questions is, does it stay in Davie County? So if just kind of hang with me, there's a lot of parts to this that's really important. So first and foremost, we strive very, very hard to make sure that every dollar stays in Davie County that we can. And there's a few exceptions to that. So for one, think of the United Way as kind of like a franchise, much like McDonald's or Burger King. And so we own the franchise, the board of directors, and we pay money to United Way Worldwide and United Way of North Carolina. In 2019, we paid just under $4,000 between the two. And for that, what we get in return is we get to use the name United Way. Everybody has heard of the United Way. They understand it's a place to give to and your money's safe there. We get to use their logo, their branding. They have a lot of people that are doing work on advocacy side with the government on the federal side and the state level. So for us to only pay $4,000 a year for that, that is huge. And that's a percentage of our campaign. So it runs a little bit about 1% of our total annual campaign.
Okay.
So it's a great investment for us to be able to get out of that. So that's part of the money that doesn't go back into Davie County, but it rewards and benefits Davie County by having that name and that resource.
Right.
On the other hand, other people can make designations. So you can say, I want my money to go to an agency, and it can be anywhere in the country that you want it to go to. So if you grew up in another state and you want that money to go back to that place, we can make sure that money gets there as long as it fits into the health and human services need. And our board of directors has said, yes, this is a cause that we want to support. We make sure that that money gets there. There is a percentage that we keep from that money in order to make sure that we're covering our costs to process those funds and get them out. And then we also have an uncollectibles fee. That's about 8%, because our auditor, because we have an auditor review our books every single year, our auditor had said 8% of the people who give to United Way are not going to be able to fulfill their pledge. They're going to leave their job, they're going to pass away, something's going to happen. And so
Right.
we want to make sure that when we tell agencies you're going to get this money, that we make sure they get that money. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how we help cover those costs. And the only other thing that we make sure that we do is there's a cost to our staff, just like you have to pay your rent and you have to pay your lights and you have
You
to
mean
pay
you
your
don't want to
water.
work for free?
Yeah, right. We have to make sure that the staff is paid. We have to make sure that the building is taken care of. But we keep those costs down as much as absolutely possible because we believe in streamlining those goals. And by paying for that, it means we're able to do the final part, which is distributing the money to our local agencies.
Right.
I don't have my hands in that. Now the staff has our hands in that. We bring in local volunteers who know the community, know the agencies, and they have full control over what we call the allocations. It's a pool of money that's left over, and we say, out of the money that's given, here's the pool of money that's left. Here's what agencies have asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And what we strive to do is make sure the money we bring in always exceeds what the agencies are asking for, and we're trying to give them 100% of what they request, especially this year. That's why donations are so critical. Otherwise, we have to say, no, we can't give you all of it. We want to give you part of this to make it work. And our agencies have always been grateful.
Right. And I've served on that allocations committee, and that's a tough job. I mean,
Really
you know,
tough.
especially when you can't give somebody what you know they need, and they've put that in their budget. So that's a tough, and that really is a for anybody who would ever want to. I would think want to know sort of how the money is dispersed. If you're looking to volunteer, that's a great spot to plug into to really know that there's not really any waste. So it's down to the penny.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I do. For people who are concerned about the finances of United Way at all, you come talk to me, and the first place I want to put you as a volunteer is on the allocations committee, so you can see where the money goes, and so you can feel the heartache of our agency directors who are out there making decisions with money every single year. There is always going to be more need than there is money to fulfill that need.
Right.
And so saying no to somebody is just an absolute heartache. But that's why the United Way is here, because we're trying to minimize the number of times we say no to legitimate causes and needs in this county.
Right. Okay, well, I think that was our questions. I'm going to pose one final question to you. If you had to tell people what you feel like your biggest need is right now, or how somebody can, how you could really get somebody, if somebody really wants to help, give us what your wish list would be.
Okay. So we're in campaign season right now. So in campaign season, if you ask me what I need, I'm always going to tell you we need money, right? And right now we're running at about 20% of what our goal is, which is $400,000 for the year.
Okay.
That makes me nervous, right? To say that we're at 20%. I want to be closer, because the campaign technically ends at the end of November, although we're going to stretch that into December and really pull on the heartstrings of folks as we get closer to Christmas. So one element is just go to DavieUnitedWay.org. There's a red button in the top right-hand corner for give. Please give to that. Give it to our community investment fund. Let our volunteers know that you want them to decide where those funds want to go. If you want to designate that, that's fine too. We're happy to make sure that money goes to folks. But right now, our need is to help people. My wife, I'll give you a great story. My wife works at Cancer Services. They get money. And there's a lady that's there, Suzanne is her name, and she's just a wonderful lady. And her job is to make sure that people get the supplies they need. For example, prosthetics, and one of those is wigs, because if you have cancer, you tend to have medicine cause your hair to fall out. And so prior to COVID, we would bring cancer patients in, and they would take a look at these wigs, and we would fit them, and they would go back out with their head held a little higher, more confident, and they would say, okay, I can feel good about myself. I can go outside without having everybody gawk at me and look at me and wonder if I'm sick.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, COVID happened, and you've got high-risk individuals that cannot come into the office. They had to change their practices. So now what Suzanne does is, for each individual that will come in, she takes out her phone and she takes a picture of every single wig from every angle she can think of, sends those pictures to the individuals. They will look at it, say, yes, no, it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, and she does the next picture and the next picture and the next picture. Her time to do the job that she used to do has increased exponentially. Cancer patients are super afraid right now because they don't know where they can go. They don't know how to be safe. And yet the agencies have responded with, we're going to give as much time as we can to make sure that these people have as normal a life as absolutely possible. That's why I'm raising money. It's not just so we can make sure the United Way grows, but it's because I want to put money in the hands of people like Suzanne,
Yeah.
that are making a huge difference for people who can't otherwise help themselves, who are really hurting, who are really struggling. There are kids right now that are trapped at home with their abusers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to school and their parents are abusing them, or their guardians or somebody else is. And the schools are looking very intentionally to try to figure out how can we help. We've got Dragonfly House, domestic violence, the school system. We've got other people that are helping out. And I think in the world today, it's really easy for people to look at their own situations and be scared. The election's coming up, and what am I going to do about my finances?
Right.
And we hold on to because we just don't know. And where I'm at is, please don't hold on to your money. Let's be the community that we've always been, rally together and support and help these agencies in a huge way, because their phones are not going to stop ringing.
Right.
The people are not going to stop walking in the door, but they need to have the resources so that they're ready to support them. That's where I'm at this year.
Okay. Well, and I just from my prior experience, if a business is listening to this and they would be willing to let you come in and talk to them, just open the door, let you all come in and talk to them, because it really is, in my opinion, it's a great opportunity for a business who has a large number of employees to really a dollar for out of, and if you think about it, I mean, 50 employees, if they're all given $1 a week, that's a pretty good chunk of change over the course of a year. So,
And you know what?
Go ahead.
You led into something great here, and I want to celebrate DavieLiFE, because DavieLiFE is one of our small business 365 business partners, where these small businesses can come in and give $365 that doesn't just feed what we're talking about, right? It helps out the agencies, but then you get your logo on our page. It's on social media. DavieLiFE is pushing it out to every place we can possibly get it out. I'll come out and take a picture with you, share it with my connections. It's the best marketing investment I think you're going to get in Davie County right now. It's a huge opportunity, and you have the privilege of knowing that you're helping other people. So I'm taking my business savvy that I brought to the table and saying, how can I make this work for businesses, so you're not just giving money, but you're also being able to make sure that people see that you're struggling too, and you want some support as we go forward.
Right.
Thank you for that reminder. That's great.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to ask you to share a little bit about that. Okay, well, I think that covers everything we wanted to discuss, and unless there's anything else you want to add.
The only thing I'll say is, please go check out our website. Because of COVID, we had to do everything virtually this year, so we revamped the entire website, DavieUnitedWay.org. Wonderfully done website, gives you all the information. It's aesthetically pleasing and informative and easy. We want to be the easiest place for people to give money to, so I think we've satisfied that. If you've got questions, I want to answer your questions. Please ask me the questions before. If you have any concerns about giving, I want to make sure you feel confident. You can call us at the office, 336-751-0313. You can email me directly, Chuck Taylor, so ctaylor@DavieUnitedWay.org. It's on the website. I'm happy to answer those questions. Wendy, thank you for giving me a chance to share this story. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you joining me, and it's always good to talk to you. And again, congratulations on the position. And I can't think of anybody who would be any better.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Have a good afternoon, Chuck.
All right, you too.
See
Thanks,
you.
Wendy.
Bye.